Paranormal Evidence.
Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices
Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. We are us.
We're all back.
Wow,
We're
all here.
back. Watch back.
We are all here. Good to see. Yep.
Monday again.
Monday.
There's her hand. There's her hand.
Hi, Audra. Welcome
Monday.
back.
Happy Monday.
Yeah.
Happy
Monday.
Tuesday.
Monday. I said Monday.
That's pretty good.
Monday.
I used to drive an Hyundai.
Oh boy, oh boy.
That's
So,
funny.
all right. So we're skipping the names thing, right? Because it's all.
At
It's
the
all
end,
we're
we're
gonna
all
do that.
are.
Let's
If
get to the
y'all
most.
know who we are by now, it's written
I was gonna
underneath.
say it's written on the screen.
You may have to reintroduce yourself because you look different.
Yeah, seriously, Christoph.
Who are you?
I'm Chris with Shaven.
Yeah.
Christoph, all smooth.
We have a new we have a new host, our co-host, Chris.
Anthony Seminelli's watching. Let's get it out of the way, Chris. Go ahead.
How you doing?
All right. Let's cut to the important thing right now. Am I the only one who noticed? Maybe you guys knew ahead of time, but we have this like discotheque kind of a countdown thing before the show now that I did not expect the first time it showed up. Was it a week ago?
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, it's a new introduction that UNX put into StreamYard. The old one is gone. Not sure why you chose the 70s porn music race, but
No. This one was created by our fearless leader because of copyright strikes we kept getting from the other one we had.
Oh wow!
Like there was a lot. When she turned over and started monetizing YouTube, the poor woman's inbox, she had like 150 YouTube messages every morning from all of these shows we're uploading. And all of these songs that were supposed to be royalty free, and I'm doing friggin' air quotes here. I wish I had a camera. But, we pay for this company that has all these audio tracks that we use, and they're supposed to be royalty free, but we're getting copyright strikes on them. So I was back here laughing when you brought that up because in the very beginning, you could hear seagulls. Like, there's seagulls in it, and I want to, tomorrow, I'm going after my, listen.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen to be a flock of seagulls, would it? Would that be a flock?
It very well may be. I mean, that's the kind of hairstyle that would go with that kind of music. But I've got to tell Margie we've got to change it. I'm so glad someone else said something about it.
Oh yeah.
so I got to tell you guys, you'll get a kick out of this. I started rewatching last week's show, and Audra's in the other room. She's like, "What the heck are you watching?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "The 70s porn music that's playing." I said, that's Universe's dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just doing something different in here. So.
That's hilarious.
Oh, and that reminds me of a joke. What do you get when you cross a brown chicken with a brown cow?
What?
Brown chicken, brown cow.
That's
See
what
what
happened.
happens when we're our own guests? We wouldn't even have us back.
I had to do it.
Jeez. The
my.
influence of women's football.
I saw that. He just watches for the stat.
Yeah, I think so. It has to be.
You didn't see the post? Tony started watching ladies football league,
Oh.
and they don't wear full uniforms, and
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who was watching tonight, though?
The dog.
Our dog.
I saw that. Yep.
He's going brown chicken, brown cow.
Yeah.
There's your scientific evidence for the statement men are dogs. There you go. Oh, yep. I am Reverie, who was with us last time.
Very cool.
Tina Dunham is also watching. Chad Thomas from Jotniks. Anthony, how you doing? Simonelli, Todd, and Carmela.
Todd, I have
We're
no
doing
idea.
So thanks all for coming back.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you guys.
I've
So
been talking back and forth with Todd and Carmela and Raul. They're going to be coming down to the Montgomery house sometime this season. So
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
we just saw Raul, and I know that Todd and Carmela are going to be on Dimensions of the Supernatural with Anthony and Maureen
oh, nice.
Thursday night. So for people watching, if you recognize them from the chat, and maybe because they were also on our show, if you got the time, definitely show up to watch them, not only to support Anthony and Maureen's show, which is great, but also to see, you get a little bit more of an idea. You get to see a little bit more about what Todd and Carmela do. They're really great people, and they're really good investigators. And so I'm glad to see that they're going to be showcased on that as well. Shadow Seekers.
Hello.
So
Yes, that'd be
That's
awesome.
awesome.
we actually saw, it was funny because Raul said, he tells his wife he's watching the show, our show, when he watches it, and he goes, I'm friends with these people. And she goes, you know those people? You don't know those people. And then we go, Raul! Maybe you do.
It's a possibility. Maybe he's not lying this time.
So yeah, we saw him. We did a public event at the Patchett House in Montgomery, New York, about an hour or so from here. And man, that place is fantastic. That's another, when you guys come up, place to go. It's not far from the Shanley, lower New York State. Got some phenomenal EVPs. I know I shared out one today that we got in the basement there. Compliments of the DR60, which is phenomenal. And Staticom went really well. And Tony, I don't know, and we'll talk about this tonight, but I don't know if you find, like, when you do an event, like as the night goes on, if people maybe leave early, or if the event doesn't have like a hard out, you can stay a little longer. The later we go, and sometimes the group gets a little bit tighter, it just gets better. Yeah, it just gets better.
You know
and there were
why?
some crazy things in the end of the night that were coming through.
There's two reasons, in my opinion. And again, this is just opinion. And I think I've heard Lourdes mention this as well. But A, you've let the machine run for a while, which helps get that bridge put in place.
Mhm.
And two, the people that stay are the ones who are truly interested, truly paying attention. Their energy is focused on what's going on. And that alone is enough to create those unbelievable connections.
She has said that, and you have also, and I agree. It was really 2.0 delivered. It was really good that night. And there were people who hadn't seen it in a while or who hadn't seen it before. And you guys were plastered all over our screen.
We appreciate that. We
did mention to them that there's a couple of our shared clips in our lecture that have the name Tony in it, and that we ask you to have your spirits not keep interrupting our sessions.
So sorry.
That is part of our lecture. It is.
It
That's
is.
part of our lecture.
Awesome. That's
But
awesome.
it was fantastic. That was our Friday. I took my son to go see Rutgers. The seance effect definitely amps it up. Yeah, that's why we came up with the digital seance idea that the four of us do now with that. So that was it. That was Friday. I took my son to go see Rutgers. Was really impressed. He was impressed. Good school. Already accepted. He's just weighing his options. And then Saturday was Patchett House
Nice.
Very cool.
with Raul.
Raul?
Full Moon. The ladies from Full Moon are fantastic. They did good events. Anthony Simonelli was there. Rich Michella. Oh my God, I have to show you guys.
Stephanie Smith,
Stephanie Smith, who's from the UFO Pine Bush Museum, and Shanley.
Susan Page.
Susan
Because if you
Page, yep.
Mention them. You mention them all.
Lisa Lascala, Susan Page, Nicole Civitani, and that was it from Full Moon. Right?
I
The
think
three
so.
of them.
I think
Rich
so.
Michella did spirit art, and he nailed 3 drawings of people who were associated with people who were in attendance. One of whom was Anthony Simonelli's mother.
Oh, and Anthony was there too.
Yes, and Anthony was with it. And man, that's a whole other. Just like Staticom is kind of like so hard to try to explain it away. that spirit art stuff is crazy. He draws people who he's never met, who he doesn't even know exist,
And they
who
were
have passed
pulling out
on.
pictures, and it looks exactly like the picture. It's
And-
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, people pull out the pictures of
Yeah.
their relatives, and it looks just like him. It's almost exact. It's a likeness, but it's so close. Really cool.
That's so crazy.
That's
It is.
awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah. Crazy awesome.
So speaking of Staticom,
We've heard of it.
we have a really
Sounds
awesome
familiar.
show for tonight. Yeah, it sounds familiar. So for in layman's terms, from my point of view, and you guys can correct me after I do this in the layman terms. Basically, what Tony and Cherie and Ron and Lourdes did was they took DRV, which was DRV. Yeah, I almost said
You
DRV.
got it. Yeah.
You nailed it.
So they took the direct radio voice, which was a bearing frequency that created a white noise. There was nothing coming in on it. It wasn't. They weren't receiving anything. It was just a bearing frequency, and they would filter out the white noise. And what they would get after that, and in theory and in actuality, what should happen once they filter out all that background noise and the ambient noise is there should be nothing there. Well, they were getting voices. Okay. So then they took it one step further and they discovered that maybe Tony did an experiment one night at a presentation he was doing in Arizona. He used a white noise generator. And they eventually cut the story short. Yeah.
He used a sleep machine that time.
Yeah, a sleep machine that repeated itself and actually embedded what he had picked up in the sleep machine. That's how he realized it was a 3-second loop.
Correct.
So what they realized at that point in time was that if they used a white noise generator, hooked it through their filtering software that they were using with the direct radio voice, they could get the same effect and eliminate the receiver capabilities. So somebody couldn't come back and say, oh, you're picking up something on the Baron channel. So now they use just a white noise generator filtered through their software in their computer, and coming out of the speaker, there should be absolute silence. In theory and in actuality, it should eliminate all the ambient noise and there should be nothing but silence.
Mhm.
And they're getting voices, which is Staticom.
Yeah, and an important historical thing kind of add in too, because for the sake of the whole repeatability and replicating a modality to see if you can replicate results, there were two instances. Tony's extremely ballsy, innovative move in front of a live audience, which is important to point out, with a sleep machine was part one of that. Around the same time, we had done the zinc mine below the surface of the earth, which is like a geological Faraday cage, and our shortwave radio could pick up nothing. So there were two separate instances where not even the same scenarios, within which the four of us came to the conclusion that we didn't need RF signal carrier wave to facilitate vocals, that the white noise seemed to be sufficient.
Correct.
So amazing.
It's interesting, but again, if you look at the early pioneers of direct radio voice, you know, most notably, of course, is Marcello Bacci, but again, the Harsh Fishbacks in Luxembourg, Dr. Annabelle Cardoso, Ernst Zinkowski, Friedrich Jürgensen, they produce amazing stuff with old vacuum tube radios and just white noise on a barren channel. And I'm reading the book that Dr. Cardoso wrote, co-wrote with, I forget who the person is, about Jurgensen's journey and how he went from EVP and pioneered and fathered direct radio voice and stuff. And man, they answered so many questions about, could it be this? What about voices from that? It was just completely inexplicable. And that hit my radar years back, a few years back now. And I was like, I don't know why nobody's trying this, but this is the most efficient I have ever seen this alleged spirit communication stuff go down. So we launched it. So important, equally important, in my opinion, is that a couple of years down the road after the launch and after we had developed and things had gotten better and gotten to a pretty good level, Tony, despite the fact that he was able to produce really good vocals, as were we, did what an innovator would do. He looked at his laurels and he goes, I'm not resting on those right now. We don't know the boundaries of this, which he says all the time. So this is the man walking the walk, not just talking it. And he tested for a while, as we were both doing. And I made an incremental improvement. I was joking around today calling it 1.2 because it was definitely better than 1.0, but not wow better. Tony nailed a wow better. And that's when I was like, you know, and it's funny because when we were Raul this week and he goes, do you think it's that much better that you would give it the 2.0 and not just like a 1 point something? That's where I got the idea from. And I went, yeah, because even when they implement the new operating system, like on a phone or something, it's always usually, if there's enough stuff that goes down, it's a whole number change. It's not just like a 0.5 or a 0.67 or whatever. And he did a decent overhaul on like 50% of the process.
Yeah, that's true. Not only was, and like Ron was saying, I mean, Staticom 1.0 or even DRV was still impressive. I mean, it gave communication far beyond what a spirit box can give. In my opinion, far beyond what apps can do. Could we have sat back and just left it there and run with it like that? We could have. But there were certain things I was hearing I couldn't distinguish. They weren't clear enough to me. They weren't profound enough. And so, like Ron said, I gutted about 50% of what was there, readjusted what was kept, redid settings on almost every component, removed components, added components, even rewired a little bit. And when I say rewired, that's figuratively speaking because there aren't any actual real wires. But the end result was what you're going to get to see tonight, which is what we call Staticom 2.0.
Shout out real quick. Greg Powlick is watching. I met him. He used to live in Hollywood. He had an apartment over a recording studio that back in the day we investigated. He went by the name Mace Ravenwolf at the time. Good dude. I think Baji would be proud of answering that, man. That's very kind, Scott. We appreciate it. It's one of the big. I love every compliment we all get, every acknowledgement we all get. But one of the coolest things to me that will always be like atop that list is that we come with this from the lineage of this came from when we started DRV. I got mentored in by Dr. Annabella Cardoso. She sat with the people who pioneered direct radio voice and EVP exploration. Senkowski, Bocci, and his wife she was friends with. Senkowski came up with the term ITC. Robin Foy from the Skull Experiment, David Fontana, parapsychologist, Harsh Fishbacks. Like she knew all these people. She sat with all these people. So that's a big, big endorsement to come from that lineage. And Staticom comes from that lineage. She's been introduced to Tony. He's been able to chat with her as well.
Yeah.
And she's behind us. She's been behind us on this. So she's interested in seeing a live demonstration. We're going to try to see if we can set one up.
Yeah, as soon as we can figure out how to do live.
Through StreamYard, it's difficult, I know.
Well, it's just difficult because 2.0 takes a lot more resources. Both Ron and I, Ron maybe not for the same reason, but had to upgrade his computer.
Yep.
I had to upgrade because when I implemented the 2.0 components, my original laptop would not handle it. So we went out and got the highest processors, the most RAM, everything under the sun. Now it works great.
Yeah. And a special thank you to Chris and Audra who tout this and show the pride in the four of us doing Staticom. It is as much their project as it is ours. I've never seen love and support like that from people. You don't see it often. Not like that.
Your family.
We love you guys.
We love you guys too. Couldn't ask for better co-hosts, better friends, better family.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
We support you guys because we love you and we're proud of what you guys have done. And I'm going to tell everybody watching tonight, they sent me their clips for the show. And I was sitting here, what was it, Thursday night when I started messaging you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. I was sitting here and out of my mouth by myself in my office, I was like, holy fuck. The clarity, the preciseness of the words, the longevity of the responses you guys are getting, for fuck's sake, you can tell what gender it is, and there's some clips in here where you can tell what part of the world they're from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clarity went up. Tony's improvement, to say it was a little bit of work would be an understatement, because when you mess with one thing, anything that comes after it, right?
Yep, it changes everything.
Yep, it changes everything. So if anybody hasn't seen it before, stick around. Greg Pollock, aka Maystair, if you're still here, stick around, because this is not, how they say, this is not your grandfather's spirit box. It's it's different, and it's just out of pure white noise that's created. It's a closed circuit system. It's just, this method was launched by people using just a vacuum tube radio, but the simplicity of the methodology, the modality, was so pure in what was working that, and I know that we're probably, because Tony knows better than me. He built ghost boxes. We all know they work. They're fantastic. The builders of today are the best in the biz. But the modality itself, I don't think can, because of the method, do to the length and clarity what this does. That's right. Yeah, we were just with Mark also.
Yeah,
Mark's a huge nerd, gadget nerd, dude. He's brilliant. He makes shit. He was with us Saturday, but that's a really, really intelligent person right there. But that's another big endorsement.
I haven't touched a spirit box or built one ever since DRV, which we turned to STATICOM, came along, because, like you said, the methodology under which it operates just doesn't compare to what I was building for 12 years prior.
Yeah, and justly really good. I mean, your stuff was really, really, really good. It's just the method. I just was blown away when I saw what they were getting with DRV, and I went, well, I can cancel that crash course on welding I was going to take. Keep all my fingers.
There goes my origami class.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a little bit different tonight, y'all. We've got 18 clips that these four with STATICOM have been doing privately at home. Some of them you've seen posted live on Facebook, and some of them you haven't. I want to make sure you guys get to see them all, because they're all so impressive. So we're going to do groups of 5. I'm going to play 5 clips in a row nonstop, and then we're going to stop and talk about it. Now,
can we real quickly put up Greg Pollock's comment? Because movie years, yes, White Noise, and I believe it was Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
John Travolta was,
but I like your movie better.
yes,
Saturday White Noise Fever.
that's right. There would have been more dancing.
But yes, it is based on that same principle.
It is.
It is based on that same principle. The white, and yes, and Tony and I very much look like a disheveled Michael Keaton sometimes at the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, there's some days. Luckily, one of us has got our feet planted on the ground, because if we ever end up with both of us not having them plant, we're done.
I don't want to see that. I would never want to see that.
There'll be an implosion.
Yeah, no, it's like a support group. Hi, my name is Ron, and my STATICOM doesn't work. Hi, Tony.
Been there.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for the first 5?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Christoph.
Now, guys, normally we'll replay some as a request. Not tonight. We want you to see them all, because they get better as we go through them. Well, they're all phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but
Hey, Paranormal Scouts. And the shows will be up. I mean, they could always watch the show over.
Right,
yeah.
Not the whole show. They could skip all the buffoonery we just did for the last 20
Right.
minutes, whatever it was.
you could always go back on UNX's Facebook page, Entity
Just
Voices
ahead to the
Facebook
clips.
page, Southern Entities Facebook page, Seeker's Facebook page. You can go on to YouTube. And they're always on YouTube. They never go away. So
They were such nice people. What a nice group of people.
They're great.
If you didn't see last week, they're from the Philippines.
and they're still there.
Great. Yeah.
I always say that.
10
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning over there.
It was the first show ever that EVPE was on Monday and Tuesday at the same time.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. All right.
Good point.
Yeah. Really nice group. Really great team. Hey, New Jersey Paranormal Investigators. Very cool.
All right, guys, we've been teasing you long enough. Here's the first 5. Here we go.
If that made it better, say elephant. What's my wife's name? It's Cherie. Thank you. Will you come and speak with us in Tombstone? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So who am I speaking with?
Do you miss your family that you leave behind? Do you have children?
If you want to communicate with us, say STATICOM. I thought spirits wanted to communicate.
Can we hear you say STATICOM, please?
Ask? Can you please say STATICOM? That might have been.
Might have been.
Is Ron running STATICOM right now? He is? Can you say to Ron, can you say Tony says hello?
Those are good.
That's so cool.
These are so cool.
So the echo you heard on the first one was just an error within
The clip itself.
I was recording. I had two mic inputs running. That's why you heard that echo, or that wouldn't have been there. That was not coming out when STATICOM replied. It was coming out only when I spoke.
All right.
Okay.
So do you guys notice that on a couple of your videos, you guys are getting the same voice?
It
There-
seems like it.
Yep. It sure does.
It
But
seems
we've had cross communication. I mean, I literally asked, hey, is Ron running STATICOM right now? And I didn't know it. They said yes. I said, give him a message. I talked to Ron the next morning. I said, hey, you weren't by any chance running STATICOM about 11 p.m. your time last night, were you? And Ron's like, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
They were
Yep.
correct.
They were correct.
And so he got that about me. And in one of the clips you showed of mine, it said Rathman.
Yeah, always Rathman.
Always Rathman.
It's always freaking freaking Rathman, man.
Good point, though, Todd. I don't remember if I ever asked you. You didn't hear a message come through, did you? From
You know what? I might not have caught it at the moment.
Because we get your name a lot, so it probably was.
You just ignore it. Yeah, I get it.
And at this point, it's
Rathman, whatever. Next.
There they go, another Rathman.
Another told you another Rathman. We get it a lot, so we probably didn't. We got to look back now to see.
Yeah, so and it's Jenny Colucci, another absolute sweetheart. Yeah, and she's got experience listening to this too. There are on some of these clips, there are characteristics to the vocals that go beyond some kind of a synthetic sound.
Right. You can hear accents. You can hear emotional state. You can hear all sorts of things. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Perfect. You tagged it right on there. That was perfect. So it's pretty cool. And we do get a lot of I don't think I sent it in because I sent in a couple that were from the 1.0 version right before the 1.2, I guess. And I don't think I sent it in, but one of them had said something. Tony does his own session. I didn't send that one in.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the same scenario because I was like listening to it after I recorded it. I went to Lourdes and went, "Did you hear that?" The voice goes, "Tony does his own session."
I was like, "He probably is."
She goes, I said, "I wonder if he was live." She goes, "He was live on Facebook 9 minutes ago."
Oh, yeah. I went and I saw you were on Facebook 9 minutes ago. Yep.
Yeah, which talks about the cross communication we get both on your side and ours and on ours across the country, but yet they have no problem giving information back and forth. That's incredible. Just
it really is.
It's not a spatial temporal issue. And if we're talking about collective universal phenomenal consciousness of which we're all from, then it does not matter.
It does not matter, but it is very impressive when you get voices. And then when you get voices corresponding from Arizona to New Jersey, that's crazy. That's and I know but it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating.
From our perspective in our 3D world, it's absolutely fascinating. To Ron's point, if you go along with the idea that they're not bound to our lineal time and space as we describe it and explain it, then they'd have no problem doing that.
Yeah, it makes sense, but still fascinating.
Yeah, and that'll be something we'll dive into on other shows too. We've all been talking, but under an idealist philosophy, and we've spoke on it at the Patchett House. This stuff is all nature doing what it does. It's completely natural. This whole idea of a 3D world.
And how pissed off will the airlines be when we figure out how to do it?
The airlines
with as many bags as I want. Damn it!
Yeah, you can't even turn your cell phone on when they're taking off.
Good point.
Do you think it's the same group talking with you guys on STATICOM? That's a possibility.
I think we get the same groups, at
times.
Occasions, right? On occasions, But we get different groups, and perhaps when Tony gets a specific group, we may get it too.
And I think it matters where you're doing it too. Like when we do home sessions, we hear a lot more times familiar voices we've heard in the past. I don't know if you guys do, but when we go out on location, those voices the ones we're hearing at home can easily come in as well, but we usually get voices we have not heard prior.
I would say that happens to us because we got that creepy voice too.
Oh yeah, dude! I forgot to tell you. We'll talk later.
But I've noticed
there was this creepy voice that kept pushing in. It was changing the way the signal sounded without changing settings. And Raul kept calling it the creepy voice.
We've never heard that voice before, ever.
Really? It was bizarre.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not even when you heard Cherie go, "We're doing EVP."
That was a different kind of.
That was the most frightening of voices.
It was scarier than that.
Now I'm gonna change. We're not doing EVP, so we're doing STATICOM here.
That's right.
But just think of the concept, though. Remember those commercials for Verizon? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think about it. If as humans, we flock to the clearest, most consistent form of communication, why wouldn't they?
It's funny that you say that, Chris, because when we first started direct radio voice, one of the first voices, if not maybe the first, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
All they kept saying was, hear me, hear me, hear me. That's all they kept
Yeah,
saying.
it's on our YouTube channel. It just kept saying, "Hear me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hear me." Like somebody like in
like
a,
an AT&T commercial.
like somebody like in The Walking Dead using a radio trying to find somebody on the other side going, "Can you hear me? Hear me."
It's funny you say that though, because our very first connection, they kept saying, he can hear us. He can hear us. And I'm like, yeah, I can hear you. See, he can hear. They were like shocked.
Yeah.
That communication could happen.
Yeah. So just for people watching too, Chris, I guess the format we're doing, right, is you're going to show 5 clips and then we'll take a break and do a little chit chat time about stuff, the clips, etc. And then you'll do 5 more. But Michael Bloomfield watching Share to American Ghost Stories.
Thank you, Michael.
He deserves an applause because he always
He
supports
does.
the
Thank you
show
for the
and
support.
other people.
Yeah.
Eric Jackson, greetings. John Huntington's Staticom is amazing. Definitely want to try it out. John Huntington, for people who are looking to buy a ghost box, look him up. He builds some really cool stuff. Really talented and brilliant ITC person for sure. We definitely support him and his work. He's great.
And you know what? We've been in the paranormal community for quite a few years now. And I can tell you, our audience is the shit.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
It is like the cream of the crop. They always show up. They're phenomenal people.
They ask great questions. Like you said, they always show up. We would not have a show if it wasn't for them, because we'd just be sitting around talking amongst ourselves, which we do. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We do.
But it's great.
You know what? We would have a show, but one of us would reach out the next day and go, "Dude, we have 4 views after the show," and then we'd be going, "Dude, that was us. We were watching the show."
Which is why we can't have ourselves as guests too often.
That's right.
Correct.
I think Tony posted something on Twitch, and then so he's like, "Hey, baby, look, there's one person watching." He didn't realize it was him.
When I did it the first time, I didn't realize that it counted me because I had it on my phone, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I had somebody watch." I'm like, I was looking through it. I'm like, that was me.
Well, to make you feel better, a couple of weeks back, we did have a guy watching from Twitch, but some of the ideas that he was coming up with were
Yeah, we were willing to take the CH off of the Twitch word to describe said individual. Take your time with that one, folks. Go ahead. We'll wait. He was
write it down if you need to.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for the next 5?
Yes, sir.
Go
All right,
for it.
here we go.
Just going through some
test. Stop that shit. It was right there. Stop that.
Started it too.
Spirits, what's my wife's name? Did you say Cherie? Spirits, I'm gonna be coming down to Tombstone to talk to you using Staticom. Who's gonna be with me? Who's gonna be with me, Spirits? Spirits, did you say Rick? Yes. What's his full name? Can you say his full name? Spirits, if you can hear me, say Rick McCollum.
Crazy.
That was 2 then.
All right, let me hear you say Rathman.
How about now, spirits? Can you say Staticom?
You ask some questions. You can see here. Let's see if there's any difference between me asking and you asking. I'll be right back. It's not live or anything.
But you're
How many spirits are with us right now? 300. 300? Did you say 300?
Oh my God, I can't.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ron. I was.
There was a big pause there, and I was like, "Oh, maybe we're just doing 2 this time."
Sorry. You know the best part of all those clips, besides the voices you guys were getting, Lourdes going, "I heard it. Stop that shit!" Right?
That's what I was telling Tony. I was so funny. That and Tony's face when they said 300.
Oh my God, your face like 300.
I've never heard anything that high. And I was just like, I needed clarification. But the best part was, and again, you can hear the accent in the voice, but he gives this sarcastic response like, is that the wrong answer?
Yeah.
I mean, just you can't explain that, and it shouldn't be there. There should be no voice in white noise.
Right.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, and it gave you an answer that was a number, which is what you were asking for, a quantity. So
correct, timing and relevance.
Yeah.
To the question asked.
You see what Todd just said too? Because one of ours that just showed was just going through some tests when she flipped out. The yours says we love these tests.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
Spirit Social Network.
Spirit Social
How
Network.
many times have we probably both said, I mean, at least I know I have, Spirit, sorry, I know you don't like answering these questions, but I'm testing this. It's the only way I can know if it's improved or gotten worse. And I'll say that to them all the time. And we didn't even say it. They just said, we love these tests because they know we're testing.
Do you ever think that they're sitting there and when you said how many are with us and they go 300 and then you got that look on your face, they're going, did you see his face? Did you see
I wouldn't rule it out.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule it out either.
Wait till he hears the next answer. We're really going to fuck with him now.
And Rick McCollum completely timed.
yeah.
Completely timed and relevant.
That was good.
He's going.
He is going. He will be there. But I found it unbelievably fascinating that when I said who's going to be there, and they're like, us, we go.
Yeah.
Great. That's exactly what I need. But then I just said, I heard Rick really quick. I said, hey, did you say Rick? Yeah. Can you give me his full name? I hadn't said it at that point.
I was just going to point that out. As you had
First and last. And Rick always complains that they say McCollum incorrectly. And like your name's Lourdes, they pronounced it correctly.
I love that. That's great. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Well, that explains the title of his book, Ghosts Believe in Me.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yes.
Because they sure do.
And they apparently know his travel schedule.
Inspectors Paranormal Investigation. We've spoken to that. I don't know if you mean the powers that be, if you mean the powers that be, or do you mean like the people who make devices that are for sale now?
Yeah.
We've spoken to both before. To the dismay of maybe some, it's not rushed to market still at this point. If we had entertained that seriously when it first started coming up, a lot of people would have paid for 1.0 and then seen 2.0. And we're not Microsoft with a staff of people. We're not going to be able to roll out updates. And it's going to be, if we sell a mapping to this and a consult and some how-to videos, which we could update if we update the system. But there's going to be an onus of operation on the operator.
Correct.
And to experiment with it, because somebody may come up with a way off of what we give to make it better.
Yeah. And the other problem is, like you said, it's still in research. We don't know the limitations of it. We're still trying to figure out what those are. And if we took 50% of the time that we have now to do that, a way to build a site, answer questions, the research would end. And we're just not, I'm not ready. I can't speak for Ron and Lourdes, but Cherie and I aren't ready to stop that yet because it's not done.
No, it's not. And to answer Scott's question, yes, we have done it off-site to connect with spirits at a specific location somewhere else.
We just did it Saturday night at the Patchett House in Montgomery, New York, like an hour or so from here. And what she was saying, like that creepy voice thing, which again, we have to tell you about the creepy voice. Holy crap. It was unbelievable. But we have done it, and then we've gotten things that were specific to people who were there. Texas speed algorithm would be.
Yeah, Mark, absolutely, it works. We've run it.
Yep. Raul did it Saturday night.
And Staticom, like on this show, if you go back and watch it, it'll put everything I'm saying up in text, but it'll pick up Staticom and put that exactly what they're saying. Not all of it, but a percentage.
Yep, and Raul was running a text-to-speech AI thing called Otter Saturday night, and he was picking up a lot. It was picking up a lot of the right transcriptions for what were coming out of the Staticom system. It didn't. I mean, not 100%.
No, but it's better than I've seen so far.
Yeah, but
the clarity enhancements made a big difference on being able to pick up speech to text conversion. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. See, Anthony remembers that creepy voice was nasty. It was, dude. It was nothing like. It had more of like this like slurred kind of a sound. It would interrupt like the feed almost, and then it would stop. And it wasn't a setting thing because I wasn't touching it.
It seemed like it was just weird because it didn't have the same tone as the other voices, but it was clear and almost whispery in a sense, but not. It was louder than a whisper, but it was just weird. It was a weird voice.
Yeah. And there were a couple of things in a couple of Tony's clips we just went through where there were some lower voices that said more stuff that was even captioned. Yeah, the laptop.
I heard something about your laptop in one of them.
Yeah. She repeated that too when we just played it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think it says he's on his laptop now.
I think,
that sounds right.
That was pretty cool.
Shadow Seekers Paranormal, also, if we didn't mention him. Uncle Giuseppe's watching. Oh, you know what? Don't let us forget. I don't want to interrupt the flow now, but at the end of the show, we can maybe tell everybody what's going on with some of our, with Staticom and with one of Tony's clips and one of Uncle Giuseppe's clips. Giuseppe, don't say it. Oh, yeah. We'll say it at the end of the show. Be a cool little plug for a few of us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Thanks for bringing that up, Ron.
Sorry, Giuseppe, that I didn't notice you were here. Usually I notice you're here when you make a short comment to Ron. I haven't seen that yet, so I didn't know he was there.
Yeah, he must have just woken up. It'll come.
Giuseppe or Ron?
Giuseppe. Oh, yeah, well.
I'm sorry. I'll be
That's okay. That's okay. That's fair enough. It's fair enough.
So this question, Inspector's Paranormal Investigation, that's Ash.
Ah, okay.
From out here in North Carolina, and he actually is a detective. So that's actually a good question coming from him.
Yeah, I would. Anything that involves helping people, if we're brought on, like I wouldn't go out like thrill seeking this stuff, like, but if we were able to help somehow and
if someone calls us and asks for our help, the police department or something like that, sure.
We'd be happy. This is not a profiteering thing for us, or we'd be selling it already.
Right.
It's never been about money. And Ash, we've actually done that where we helped cold case information. So yeah, and I'm sure Ron and Lourdes would do it too.
He's got a cool logo.
Yeah.
Whoever did that logo, that's bad. That's really good.
So Ash is really good friends with Scott from Piedmont, PPIT.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone on a couple investigations with Ash. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
Jonathan,
that whole group is just full of really good people.
What's up, Mr. Keyworth?
Love his logo.
Yeah,
it's another really cool logo. Yeah.
All right, guys, you ready for the next 5?
He did his own logo. It's really good.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Do this.
All right. Here is the next 5. Here we go.
Spirits, can you hear me?
That's right.
That doesn't sound like English. What language are you speaking?
Turkish.
You're speaking Turkish? I only speak English. Can you speak to me in English? Yes, okay. Thank you. I heard you say spirits. Can I speak with extraterrestrials? Yes. I mean, I would think if I can speak with spirits, I should be able to speak with extraterrestrials too, right?
Can you guys hear us? We're able to now? Okay. Can I get the name Danny Moss? Did you say Danny Moss is in England? Yes, in England. Okay. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I was like, you don't need that.
I was going to go through it until I saw Lourdes.
Yeah, it's done. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. The Danny Moss.
You should have just played the whole thing.
The Danny Moss one and the Tony Does His Own session was the one I thought I hadn't sent when he was live on Facebook 9 minutes before I recorded that. Those were both 1.2. That's right. That was before 2.0.
Jenny, I would just talk to it.
Yeah, put Cherie's question back up. First of all, we'd have to be able to identify that it's not normal spirit, and how we'd be, unless they would say that there's something other than spirit, we probably wouldn't even know.
Right.
If they identified themselves as, no, I'm not spirit or consciousness, I'm extraterrestrial, then I'd probably have that facial expression again for
Yeah.
Then I'd start asking questions.
Yeah.
And I would.
It's hard to understand if it's an extraterrestrial or not because of how it's coming through. You don't know where it's originating from. And not only that, there's very strong beliefs that they've been living among us for a long time now. So
Right. To Todd's question, Todd, it was where I put, I said, are you speaking Turkish? And then I thought I heard the word yes, but you came back and said that the EVET is the Turkish word for the English version of yes, and you thought it sounded like that.
And
I was going to say it didn't sound like yes, it sounded like a different language when it responded.
Yeah.
Jamie also posted the a video of how the accent of Turkish to differentiate.
Oh yeah.
Is it Jamie? Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
Jamie.
Yep. Yeah, because she's fascinated with languages. So, or was it the Turkish one, or was it?
Yeah, it's the Turkish.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
So two things on that section. One, as far as the extraterrestrial thing goes, and this is what I love about this philosophy of mind under analytic idealism. Even if it was supposed to be an extraterrestrial thing, if the universe, if cosmologically it was mentation, it's mental processes, and the entire reality out there is mental, then even if it was something you would consider extraterrestrial, it would still be a communication through consciousness, the same way we were getting it if we considered it a spirit.
Right.
Exactly. And that's an excellent point, Ron. And I always said, there's no reason why extraterrestrials couldn't use STATICOM, because anybody that claims to have had contact say, while they were speaking to me, I could hear them, but their mouth never moved. So It's not vocal. It's some kind of telepathy.
And to your Turkish English intermixed clip, there is something historically in direct radio voice, and I believe in EVP research too, and I'm not sure if it was Konstantin Radove who referred to it, but it's called polyglot, which is a mixture or a conglomeration of language.
Right.
Sometimes in trying to almost emphatically say something, I don't know if it has to do with who the audience receiving the message is, or if it's just kind of like a haphazard kind of a process from which the vocals come through. But that is something that has historically happened in ITC or EVP research in the past. So I found it interesting for that reason.
That's another great point. I think it has to do with audience, because they were speaking, if they were speaking Turkish, and I would love to have somebody who knows the language to be able to maybe tell us what was said prior to me asking what language they were speaking. But as soon as I said, I only speak English, can you please speak to me in English? They said, yes, we are. And then I never heard the Turkish again. It was all English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought in the interpreter.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, we have 3 more clips. I'll play them individually, and then we'll talk after them, since there's only 3 left.
All right.
So let's go ahead and play this next one. Here we go.
Do you understand the permission to speak? Say Rathme.
Yes.
Hold on. Rathman said episode, what today's date?
That was awesome.
At this point, we just have the check marks on the wall.
Yeah, like a prisoner putting hash marks on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Counting the days down until freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, it said yes, Rathman, not just yes the first time.
Right.
And I didn't catch it. She heard it. Audra also heard it. And then at the end, right when I cut it off, it says Staticom.
It says Staticom right at the end when he cuts it off. Yeah.
That was great.
It's
That was
funny
great.
Ash says that because I could just see it's like the scene from Thor where the government comes in and takes all their research and confiscates it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
Where's Alpha?
With a black Suburban,
Yeah, he's
2 or
in
3 of them pull up in front of the house, and all the windows are limoed out. Get the fuck out! Wait.
You can find Hopper in the phone book under cement.
That's funny.
All right, you guys ready for the next one?
Sure.
All right, here we go.
Can you name somebody upstairs in this house?
Upstairs. See, absolutely part of what I actually agree on. Yes, here's the sound.
Great responses. But am I right to assume that was Staticom 1.2?
No.
Really?
2.0?
That was 2.0. Mm-hmm.
So, Ron, tell everybody who was upstairs sleeping when you caught that.
Me and Antonio, his son.
My son was also sleeping.
And they called me lazy.
They also called you wife.
They did.
Yeah. They did.
Yeah.
They'll learn.
Oh my goodness.
What's common law in New Jersey?
Very uncommon.
I think it's 10. Very uncommon. I think it's like 10 years. I don't know. Every state is different. So.
Yeah, the unintelligible part. I wasn't sure. I went over it and over it and over it. I slowed it down to like 30%. It sounds like a vocalization, but I'm not going to guess.
Did you get that response like soon after 2.0 was discovered, or?
I mean, it had to be sometime close to after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you hear it like that, Tony. Because maybe it was when we first started and we were still messing around with it.
Could be.
And there were some differences in how each of ours sounded, even with the exact same settings. There were a couple things that were still stuff that we talked about, like you would tweak this thing, if not that thing, then it was this other thing. You would try that next.
Correct. Before we went all through that. So yeah, that's very possible.
That's probably where the
yes.
It was still very clean, but
yeah.
Cool.
Fantastic. We've got one more. And I want you guys to pay really close attention to the tonality and the gender of this next one. All right, here we go.
Function. Evaluations. Question. Show that. And one that's.
Was that question for me? And could you repeat it, please? I heard, should I?
Wow.
That was
Delicious, huh?
2.0.
That one you can tell it was 2.0. Yep.
No doubt about it. Accent on that woman, absolutely noticeable as can be. But what I loved about it was that she literally spoke, knew you were communicating with some type of device, and she's like, should I say my, what did she say? Should I
say my name first?
Yeah.
Here's what's awesome. She sounded British.
Yeah.
She did.
And the term biddle, English theologian and the founder of
Unitarianism.
There's my word for the night. Thank you. Unitarianism in England.
Wow.
That's interesting. I either thought it was that or it was the renowned skeptic and longtime friend of Jason Hawes, Kenny Biddle.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I get along with him fine. I mean, he doesn't believe in this stuff, but we
But she used the word charm before she said it.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of charming with him, I guess.
But the other part that was so fascinating about that was you said, I think I heard you, but could you repeat that? And then she said, repeat.
Yeah. She was very polite, right?
Yeah. That British accent, when I heard it, it was like, that's a British accent.
Yeah.
I was kind of taken aback by it. I think that's one of the benefits of the 2.0 change is it's so clear you can hear that now.
I agree. That was awesome. That was really good stuff.
You know what? There wasn't anything played here tonight that wasn't friggin' awesome.
Yeah. You're so cool.
STATICOM 2.0, y'all.
Y'all.
Stop that shit.
Stop that shit right now.
I was in the other room and I was working, I think. I was working and he's messing around and I heard it and I stopped. I was like, stop that shit. Was it?
There you go, yeah. German would just yell at you.
Yeah.
Should I say my name? Damn it.
That's a British accent.
Now he did German.
Thank you, Todd and Carmela.
Yeah.
Forget about
In the chopper.
I know. Doesn't that commercial remind you of Anthony? Every time I see that commercial, it's like, that's Anthony.
This is my neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neighbor. That's what I said.
That's what I said. Exactly. Conversations with Seminelli.
Not to get off track, but that was the best commercial during the Super Bowl. I was in tears. That was awesome. That was almost as good as the Boston one from a few years back. It's wicked smart.
Wicked smart.
Wicked smart. So what's coming up for 2.0, you guys?
3.0? You know, and I've got ideas, but I cannot touch them yet because there's a lot to be done on 2.0. There will be many nights with the four of us going back and forth about adjustments, tweaks, and like we said in the beginning, you touch one thing on one component and everything else changes because everything's connected. So we will do everything in our power to make any additional improvements we can to 2.0 before I even look at making adjustments, because this might be it. This might be the exact setup we need, and it's just fine tuning from here. We don't know. So rushing into something else at this point wouldn't be advisable or a smart move. So we will hold.
Yeah, and plus the other thing that we've talked about is that with every known characteristic that you develop, you get sometimes what are like epiphenomenon of the thing you meant to do, like things that are the byproduct of something else. So this system's got a clarity and a distinct sound, which is much improved, especially in how clear, and you're hearing accents now. But we've also noticed that the system, as far as settings goes, is a little more fragile, where you can make a very small adjustment on one specific component, and it'll make a little bit noisier. It'll add a little bit of this or that, and then you got to kind of dial it out somewhere else. So we're still, I guess, getting acclimated to that, and that may be why the one clip had a slightly before 2.0 sound to it, because I was probably aware that I recorded something good and I clipped it, but I might have been still testing with the settings just to kind of.
Correct. Yeah, we refer to that as FAF, which stands for finicky as fuck. It is.
It is, yeah. The process is a lot more fragile, but it's very, very subtle. You move a dial like a 16th of an inch to the left, and all of a sudden it's like wow, 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 like a lot of whack.
And you're hearing these strange screeches and squeals.
Yeah.
So you gonna let us in on the secret there? You guys leaned in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just reading, and I said to Cherie, I'm like, yeah, go ahead and post that. With the event of AI, you might also be able to add visual pictures, maybe see who's, we've discussed that before. And yeah, is there a possibility of us being able to incorporate video with some sort of visual picture display? Absolutely. Are we ready to even look at that at this point? No.
Right.
Yeah.
We're still working on the audio part.
Yeah. We need to have some way to discern too between something that was able to create imagery, versus something that would be receiving, that we would know that was not coming. Something that's not endogenous to the device. It's not coming out of the device, but the device is a transference of wherever it's coming from. Right. We'd have to be able to know the difference, or we would completely be just throwing darts at a board with a blindfold. Right. We wouldn't know.
Right.
You don't want to put something out there that's an assumption. You want to make sure that what you guys have improved so far is not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not tainted at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say weakened, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point, Chris. So yeah,
because that would be a huge thing to have to work out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because that's one of the things. I know there's some apps that do stuff like that, and there's no way to know. Well, not no way, but a very select few, maybe on the development side, can tell you how it's coming up with the imagery it's coming up with, and a lot of them that do image stuff, they'll say, "Oh, there's a spirit of it looks like something like that standing there because that's what it drew," and the problem with that is that that's a convenient fiction. That's the device giving you a result that appears to be what nature's doing in front of you, but there's no empirical data. There's no way to test it or falsify it. There's no validation whatsoever. It just is a description that fits what appears to be happening to you or in front of you in reality. And that's not, from a support standpoint, it's not very, it lacks explanatory power big, and that's why we would hesitate until we would know.
Right.
And where the current concept with STATICOM 2.0 is, you guys know that once you've filtered out that ambient noise, those voices absolutely should not be there.
Yeah, it's a matter of us knowing that there's no audio data within broadband white noise. Therefore, there should be no syllables, no sounds, nothing.
Words.
But be able to get words, full sentences, in a timing and relevant manner to the question we asked. That's where, it
from some polite British broad. Yeah.
Yeah. It shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, no question. I mean, how many times did at least 2 or 3 clips said Cherie?
Yeah.
When Tony asked for it, you can't. And we've had recent discussions too, online and a forum thing with. You go through the same thing. You get the whole pareidolia thing. Someone will go as far as to say that there's voices out there and you can record them with EVPE, but when you introduce a white noise source, now you're creating the pareidolia effect because of the low harmonics and this whole. You acknowledge that there's anomalous voices out there, but which are being recorded via stochastic resonance on some level, because if the device didn't need something like that to be able to capture, even though it has a wider range than we do to hear,
right,
If it didn't need something like that, then every time you turned on a recorder, you would have EVPs.
You'd have voices. You'd have voices nonstop.
Right.
The only reason you don't is because it does require that ambient noise to be able to amplify the. I don't know what the right word is there, but in order to filtrate it to the device for your ears to be able to pick it up. Without that, it wouldn't happen.
Yes.
That is exactly how STATICOM functions. But the difference between hearing a static noise on a recorder and then trying to blend it with the message, STATICOM filters everything out except the voices.
Right.
But we don't battle the ambient white noise sound in the vocal itself.
Right, but perfectly put. We use it and then we lose it.
Correct.
That's exactly what it is. And we appreciate you pointing that out because we've gone to great lengths to vet the authenticity of this. Through the zinc mine and the sleep machine experiments and situations, we got rid of the radio reception. The only thing we're left with now, which is why we laugh when we get stuff like that pareidolia thing, the only thing we're left is some kind of a mistaken warbles and artifacts of sound as a byproduct or epiphenomenon of the process.
Right.
Because they say that you can discern patterns in randomness and that white noise is random. But when you say we can discern patterns, that's an appeal to our intellect because that means that we're able to identify when sounds form words within language with syntax that we know, for one. And then we've talked about this too. White noise is not random. Random is what we say when we can't measure or calculate something at the moment. It's computationally irreducible. It's not fundamentally random.
Right.
So we have taken off everything that you could possibly sing at. So you have to now either go to that we're hearing what we want to hear, which is not, sometimes we don't even ask anything. I'm sure Tony wasn't asking or thinking about hearing Turkish.
No, I wasn't. All I knew is I couldn't understand it. And I knew 2.0 should be clear enough to let me hear what's being said. But he agreed. He wasn't speaking English.
Well, when you say you're hearing what you want to hear, that eliminates that factor when you do a show like this and everything that you guys have produced and show, even our audience is hearing the same things.
How you doing? Gerard Simonelli.
There he is.
Another great investigator, good friend.
Yeah, good guy. But if human hearing was that valuable, where, any strange array of sounds would immediately make you think you heard something. I mean, it's not like one of our dog growls with a small bark behind it, and Cherie comes up to me and says, "I was just told I have to go spend $100."
Right.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it seems to be predatory in the area of paranormal audio review.
That was my next point, and you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, I wrote about it in book 2, I think. I called the chapter Pareidolia, the Paranormal Predator, because this does not show up in daily life like it should. Correct. If we're that plagued by it.
Correct.
So absolutely. Tony is spot on. It's not consistent, and that's the problem. Is that's when it becomes a convenient fiction because it's not applicable if you extend the principle across all possibilities that you can think of, and that's scientific method, right? Looking at all possibilities and leaning into what's most probable. So even if we can't know what all those possibilities are, you got to lean into the ones, at least until you decide what makes the most sense. The ones that you do know.
Right.
You can't stop the idea when it starts to run thin on having any explanatory power. And that's what that does.
Exactly. Perfectly said.
Yes, you can mistake hearing things, but it's not at the level and consistency that it happens. That would be some kind of an auditory epidemic.
And just because you misheard something doesn't mean that words weren't spoken, because we mishear each other all the time. You may say something and you're like, so does that mean that words weren't spoken? No, words were spoken.
Yeah,
exactly. So, like when you say to me, "Are you even listening to me?" and I say, "What a weird way to start a conversation."
Oh, that was good. That was good. Tune in next week when Rathman 3.0.
3 alone.
Yeah, that is true, and you can find, especially through like academia, there are constantly papers being written about a variety of things, and most times with ITC, especially the ghost box modality, it gets dismissed because of all the different things. And you know what? I still don't even agree with that, because if you hear something that's that clear with timing and relevance coming out of a box, I can't. Is the DJ clairvoyant? How does he know if it's coming through the radio? How do they know to answer what you're asking? You're hearing what you want to hear. You don't always hear what you want to hear. More times you strike out than not. We can't just have statistics to support the point we have. That's why we have statistics and scientific testing. That's why a lot of it exists, because if somebody comes on with some kind of a rig and they go, I figured out STATICOM, it's bullshit, it's all fake, here it is, and they try to do something to mimic it. If they debunk it and they sounds close to what we do, they need to do it one time, and they have shown that it's possible. But if we show something and go, this is spirit communication, they go, really? Do it again. This is spirit communication. I believe you. Yeah. Sure. Do it again.
Sure. Let me see it again. Let me
do it again. And the reason you have to have those statistics and repeatability is because science isn't what's on the table. It's a paradigm ideology is being questioned.
Right.
That's different. And that's why it requires this repeatability thing.
Yeah. No,
statistics, it doesn't hurt the cause, but I mean, that's why one time to debunk, several times to show that it's not consistent with material physics.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And Roger, to answer your question, yes, still using the same white noise generator we began STATICOM with.
Yeah. I said that. Yes, I'm not against the debunk word.
Yes, you are.
I don't.
Yes, you are.
I don't like when it gets thrown around like WebMD throws around headache.
Yeah.
Like, it's a symptom of everything. And I don't just because I believe that the way we convey and communicate our ideas and messages matter. And when somebody goes, we go into debunk, and when we can't debunk, then we go, all right, we got something. But saying you go into debunk it seems like it sounds agenda driven, even if you mean it from an trying to be objective perspective, even if that's how you mean it.
It should be, your mind should be, I'm going in to investigate.
That's it.
That's the way you should think.
And
of course, you're going to try to see if you can explain something that you cannot explain, see if you can figure it out.
Yeah.
But I agree with him.
It's just because we're conveying this message, and not everybody that's hearing the message is a paranormalist, or maybe they're new. And I think that, you could say I'm going to a multi-gender, multi-ethnic, multicultural party, and I'm going in to hate. But if I find somebody I love, no. It's going in. You're going in with a negative bias. You can't do that. We all have a certain level of bias that we try to work around and not dictate what we do. But I don't think it should be laced into our language in the way that we convey what we're doing, because I think it sends the wrong message.
Agreed. Completely agreed.
What you guys got going on next week?
Well, I'll tell you tomorrow. And I wanted the whole STATICOM team to do it, but it's during the day, and I happen to have the schedule that allows for it right now. I'm doing Paranormal Dimensions with David Young from the UK. I'll be on, I think it'll be live. If it is, I will share it.
At 3 o'clock.
At 3 p.m. Eastern time to talk about STATICOM, and we're going to be promoting the Festival of the Unexplained that we have coming up in September. And then we're doing what? We're doing...
The next one is
Saturday. We're doing Freelandheisen Mansion for
isn't it?
A paranormal experiment. We're doing Paranormal Heart podcast with Kat Ward on Wednesday night.
All of us
with the whole STATICOM team.
I think so, right? You guys are doing it with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it. And then that's not us. That's Anthony. And then then we have the event at for the Morris County Park Department, Freelandheisen Arboretum.
Yeah.
Rat fans, what you got going on?
Well, we are still in the process of trying to get all ends tied up for a move that's coming up for us, which we're not still not liking, but hey, we've got some good stuff has hopefully come out of it, and we'll find out more as the days go by. So we're still packing, we're still cleaning. That'll go on for the next probably month.
So
but other than that, we have a bunch of podcasts as well coming up.
Lourdes,
Yep. Let's see what else.
March 3rd, another Staticom, all four of us with Andy Dakotas and Nicole Trevatoni.
And don't you have a Paracon in April or something?
We have two of them. We have the Ghost of Globe Paracon.
That's in April too?
Yeah,
they're all in April?
They're 2 weeks apart.
Okay. Go ahead. Tell us which ones they are, please.
When is it Todd Bates? I thought we have Todd Bates
March.
too, right?
Yeah, March 19th.
March 17th, I think.
No, I think it's the 19th.
19th.
Yeah.
19th, okay.
Yeah, we have the one with Andy Dakotas from the UK and Nicole from Full Moon here on the 3rd of March. And then the four of us also have Ghost Biker Garage on March 7th with Miranda Young. And then the 19th, we have the one with Todd Bates.
Yeah. Mention the Paracons, guys.
Mention your Paracons.
Yeah, mention them. You have
Ghosts of Globe is one of them.
Right? Yeah. And then
April 12th and 13th, if memory serves. And Tombstone, April 26th through the
Roger.
8th or 9th.
Help, Roger.
Help, Roger. Yeah. They need help. And there's one more.
They're both going to be great. They both have impressive lineup of people. Staticom will be showed at both and demonstrated.
Yeah.
Talking about and variety of other things. There'll be a workshop too, dealing with spirit communication.
Very cool.
There was something else I was going to say.
I think we're doing also investigation on that event.
Right? Oh yeah, both events have investigations.
Nice.
Globe has multiple over 100-year-old buildings that will be able to be investigated if you sign up and pay the fee to do it. Tombstone, I think, also has a whole handful of them. Will be involved in some of them. Ghost of Globe Paracon, April 12th and 13th. Tombstone Wild West, April 27th and 8th.
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah,
Roger, appreciate it.
That's cool. Two of them back. Oh,
what happened?
No Rathmans.
What? But did they go to the Paracons now? Like, what's going on?
Look at me. He's like, oh my God, we have two Paracons coming up. I have to iron my clothes and make sandwiches.
Poor guy.
Well, there's their Paracons for April.
Yeah.
It's the Globe Paracon and the Tombstone Wild West Paracon. They will be at with Rick McCullum. That's the one you saw in the clip.
Yeah. Yeah. Our East Coast Paracon started up a little slower in the beginning of the year, I think, because of the weather and stuff. We had Hanover, Virginia, but even that weekend it snowed a little bit. But then it starts up for us with the Paracons, right? Going into
there they are.
I think starting in May.
Going into May, it gets a little bit more with us with the Paracons.
What are you guys doing, Chris and Audra?
Yes, Chris and Audra.
Normal blah blah stuff.
Normal blah blah stuff. We've got exciting news. The Montgomery House. It looks like this is the first year that I'm actually got to build a schedule to start booking investigations because we've had so much interest in it this year, and that's also thanks to you guys and thanks to EVPE. Because if the six of us wouldn't have done anything there, then I don't think it would have gotten the interest it has had. I mean, PPIT's always been phenomenal in booking stuff there and great supporters of that. And then Ash and his group are going to be coming down sometime soon. We got Raul.
Oh, nice.
And Todd and Carmela are going to come down soon, hopefully. And then we also just booked with another group that's going to book in April. So that's exciting.
That's cool.
That is exciting.
Yes, it is.
Plus, and then we're actually going to get out into the field. I've been researching, trying to find some. There's a lot of old. Yeah, there's Ash.
Yeah.
There's a lot of older cemeteries out here from like the 1700s that I've been researching, trying to find that we can get into because we seem to get a lot of EVPs and stuff like that. So I've been trying to find one that we can get into that we don't get shot.
Area.
And everybody's like, oh, it shouldn't be too hard. Down here, yeah, we in the South, y'all. Some of those cemeteries are we're in the Bible Belt, so some of the ones outside of graveyards in the churches or across the street from churches is not. So for everybody watching, we only open investigations for the Montgomery house between March and November, and November's kind of iffy depending on the weather. So we don't do it during the winter months because
not fun.
It's not fun because you can't set up just so everybody watching, you can't set up your command center inside the house because of all the historical stuff that's inside the house. You can't. So I set up a lean-to outside and I put a table outside I pull all the electric out for you guys so you can set up your command center outside. The only time we've ever moved it to the inside of the house, it was during an emergency because it started to rain.
Yep.
And we didn't want the group PPIT to ruin their equipment. So we moved them inside to the kitchen area. But for the most part, we don't let groups set up command centers inside the house. One, because of contamination, because you don't want a command center making noise downstairs with the lack of noise
insulation
and stuff like that. Noise travels quite a bit.
Right.
And two, because of the historic nature of the house, you don't want a lot of stuff.
There's nowhere to sit.
And there's nowhere to sit. The furniture's older than I am, and I can't sit half the time, so I'm sure the furniture won't do either.
Christoph.
But the really exciting thing is we've got as soon as we find one of the cemeteries to go check out, we've also got an investigation plan with PPIT going back to the Trivet Clinic in March. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Nice.
Very cool. And
You'll
Todd,
hear a lot of good stuff we hear about that place.
that place is insane haunted. For it's about the size of the Montgomery house, maybe a little bit bigger because it's got a basement.
Yeah.
But the activity's just as much. That's the one where I kept telling Audra and Cherie that I was hearing the elderly woman say, "This is my room," like she had dementia.
Yeah.
And I actually caught the EVP of her saying it. So it's a pretty awesome place.
Mm-hmm.
that's so cool. Oh, and Todd, no, we were not abducted by aliens. Cherie had some sort of strange mouse attack and flipped us completely out of the show. But that did
sort of strange mouse attack.
Yeah, but that did remind me of something I forgot to mention coming up next weekend. Is we're getting pressured by this organization to meet them on Saturday. I think the initials were CIA, which Cats in Need of Assistance, which is really funny because we're dog people. But
We're dog people.
That's funny.
No, I just upgrade Tony to a wireless mouse.
yeah, you just booted us off the show. I haven't done that in like a year.
Just this thing hit.
Hey, haven't you guys learned by now that you shouldn't get Tony a new mouse?
I wasn't even touching it.
He hasn't had good luck with mice at this point.
Yeah.
So there's a trivia question for you guys. Is this multiples of these mice?
Good question.
Or is it mouse?
Much many mices.
That's a good question.
I mean, I guess it would be mouses, right?
Mises.
I don't think it's ever been used plural.
I know, but if you did have a whole bunch of them, what would you call it?
Right.
I just got a newer one too because my other one was flagged.
A couple of mouses. A couple of mice.
Yeah.
Mice.
So here's one for the audience. Somebody do the research, and next Monday, let us know what a group of these is called. Because the furry kind that run around your house and chew shit up, those are mice. What are these?
If there's more than one, yeah. That's a good question. See, we want answers next Monday.
That's right.
There you go. Gerard already answered.
Mouse. See, there you go. I trust him.
More than one?
More than one is still mouse?
No.
I've got 12 mouse.
Well, I want 12 mouse. Yeah. I guess so. Maybe.
Because you could have moose or multiple moose.
Much many moosin'.
It's not mooses. It's not meat.
Moosin'.
Moosin'. Flock of
Called
moose.
a group of those. He said those.
A group of those. That's fair. That's fair.
All right, guys.
Technically, EVP is not supposed to be EVPs. If you got a lot of EVP, it's electronic voice phenomenon. Technically, you're not supposed to pluralize it.
I think there's the answer because he knows.
If it's different brands, you can say mice, like fishes in the sea.
Okay, maybe not.
and there's a lot of them. Fishes in the sea. I know the thing that we said we wouldn't forget. So we had a conversation with a gentleman named Lance, who is the director of the Pine Bush UFO and Paranormal Museum recently. He is a fantastic guy. Imagine Jack Black and Robert Downey Jr. as one person.
Oh my gosh.
He's a character, but he's so much fun. He's
incredibly artistic talent. Yeah, he's so good. The museum is fantastic. So there you have an EVP room, a separate structure behind the main museum. And they've had a lot of the same content since it opened. So we had a conversation because he wanted to know about us contributing stuff. So there's going to be a STATICOM exhibit added to the paranormal side of the museum where the electronic voice phenomena stuff is. So it'll be a 3-minute clip that for the guided and self-guided tours, people will get to watch. Where Tony and I are going to work on something where we have a little testimonials from all of us talking about it for a couple seconds, show some clips. He also was interested in Giuseppe Caradonna from Anthony's team from Seekers Club has an SLS capture that he shows everybody. It was when we were at Kingsland Manor in Nutley, New Jersey, and I moved my arm and the stick figure ducked out of the way.
Yeah.
He wants to put that into the museum. Yes, Kung Fu Iron Man, exactly. And then when I spoke to Giuseppe, he reminded me of something. I was like, why didn't I think of this? So we pitched it to Lance also. So if anything on paranormal video capture deserves to be in a museum, it's the Rathmans Aho Hospital shadow figures walking in the hallway clip. So that is going to be in the Pine Bush UFO and Paranormal Museum as part of the guided and self-guided tour that people will get to see with Tony and or Cherie, if you guys want to do a little video just explaining what it is when you captured it. So people on the tour will not only see you, but they will see that phenomenal piece of footage daily in a museum to our genre.
Which is absolutely awesome, and we are thrilled about that. But I sent you the video. Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it since you sent it. No, because I've seen it before, but I'm guessing I should watch it again for some reason.
Oh, no, it's brand new. I made it that morning before I sent it.
Oh, you did it? Okay, I didn't see it yet. Nope, I just had it, and I told him that I got it because we were.
Because I asked you, I'm like, "What'd you think?" And you're like, "You know what I thought," and I'm like, I don't think he liked it.
No, I didn't.
What am I going to tell you again, asshole?
Right?
He didn't tell me that he recorded something setting it up, so I thought he just sent me the clip because he did it really fast.
Oh no! It's like I went over the 2-minute mark, whatever we told me, 1.5 minutes or whatever.
It's fine.
Like 2.5, I think, but yeah,
that's fine.
But yeah, let me know.
Yeah,
I'll watch. Yeah, I thought you just sent me the clip because you did it so fast. I didn't know you did something for it. All right. Well, we have to record testimonial stuff from us.
Yes.
And Chris and Audra, if you guys want to record something, we're talking maybe 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds or so each. 25 the most, maybe, because we want to show some clips and some testimonials. So maybe just all of us could say something. You record it, you guys can record it together. You can record one at a time. That's up to you. But we will include that in the STATICOM exhibit so that the whole EVPE team is on that video. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. We were going to use clips, and then we realized that the original docuseries talks originally as DRV because we changed it from STATICOM while that was being made.
Right.
So Ron and I were talking about that, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just record new because we are more familiar with what STATICOM is, how it functions. We're more familiar with every aspect of it. So new is probably better.
So yeah, so we all have to do that. So everybody maybe think about, in short, what you'd want to say about STATICOM. Then 2.0 doesn't have to even be. I mean, you can mention it if you want to, but just something about STATICOM just to kind of
Yeah.
Give your 2 cents or your take or your experience with it or whatever you want to do. And then we'll have that go into the museum. But I was excited because Giuseppe's SLS footage is really cool capture.
Yeah.
It is. He sent it to me. It's freaking
Yeah,
phenomenal.
really cool capture. And then and Tony's and Cherie's shadow figure footage is, to me, the most insane video I've ever seen since I've been into the paranormal stuff.
I have never seen anything like it. And the thing is, I mean, you see things out there, but you don't know if it's true or not. But you guys, you know, we believe you, we trust you, we know who you are. And I've never seen anything like that ever from anyone so far.
Well, neither had we until we reviewed that footage. And you think my face was weird looking on that one clip? You should have seen it the night I saw this. She wasn't even home when I saw it, and I'm like, I had no one to say anything to. I'm like,
no, it was you doing the video, the clips. Remember?
John, who?
My son.
No, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was alone when I found it.
No, when. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Get him, Cherie.
Oh, you know what?
After EVPE tonight, y'all, UFC 2.0.
That is, yeah.
She is correct.
Yes.
Because I do remember John going, "What is that?"
Yeah,
I do remember. She is correct. She is correct.
Yeah, I'm never wrong.
Never.
We've already learned that.
Says every woman on the planet.
Yeah.
That's right. Look at Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
I don't even have to turn my head. I know she's doing this. I could have went like this, and I'd have known she was sitting there going,
"Oh yeah."
Cherie was correct, though. John was there. I do remember it now.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, it deserves to be somewhere where people see it routinely, where you'll get some recognition off of it, hopefully, because
we can't thank you guys enough for that opportunity to. I mean, the shadow figure, just awesome. STATICOM, definitely, I think is just fantastic because, you know, if you look at what the history was since something like DRV or the Frank's box, not a lot has occurred. And I just think it's great that this may get some recognition for what I know all 4 or 6 of us believe is worthy of it. So I just think it's great and appreciate to everybody involved in having it show up at the museum. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's way cool.
Well,
Thank you so much.
and there's actually a possibility for a second museum placement for that too, because we were because we haven't had anything. Gerard Simonelli, good seeing you, brother.
Good night.
Good night.
He's such a good dude too. We love the Simonelli family.
Yeah.
Miss ya.
Because we were originally asked from Bloody Mary down in New Orleans. She wanted to put something in her haunted museum about STATICOM with us because we were down there with her. But she knows that there's 4 of us, and I want to take the video we do for Pine Bush, and I want to send it down to her and ask her if she'll put that on a monitor down there on her tours because she already. She texted me. Every so often I hear from her. She texted me a couple nights ago. She was just on Dimensions of the Supernatural with Anthony and Maureen last week. They did a pre-record with her for scheduling purposes, and then they showed it last Thursday. And she was texting me afterwards like she wants us to come back. Like she was really good to us. We had such a good time with her.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to say if I send you a pre-made video that explains the whole STATICOM thing, are we still good for that? Put something because she said it in the docuseries that she wanted to put something in the museum for us for STATICOM. So I think when we're all represented in the video and it's made for that reason,
right? Perfect. That would be the absolute ideal thing to go. So very cool.
So it would be Marcello Bacci, Frank Sumption, and Dos Rathmans and Ganyakos.
Ganyakos.
That's awesome.
In a museum de New Orleans.
And Pine Bush-O.
Pine Bush-O.
That sounds good.
That's pretty damn good, wasn't it? Well,
all right, guys.
If anybody's still watching.
This is usually what happens after the show.
Right.
Right.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't get enough of our shameless plugs, then tune in next week. It was great having you guys all here. I hope you enjoyed all of the STATICOM 2.0 evidence, and make sure, guys, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, check out 2.0 and make sure you get out into the field, you do some investigating, you capture your EVPs, do your thing the way that you do it, and make sure that you call us so you can be on the show and show it. All right, guys, but most of all, in order to do all that, you got to stay haunted. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Have a good night.
Forget about
Good
it.
night.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?